Good morning. It's April the 4th, 2018. Time to kick off another trading day, and the trade wars escalated overnight. Yesterday afternoon, the United States imposed $50 billion worth of new tariffs on China. China had been rather discreet about the first wave of tariffs imposed on them. They responded by imposing $50 billion worth of tariffs on the United States. And this tariff war between the United States and China can spill into other economies, other areas of the world too. So if you don't think fundamentals drive the trading, take a look at where the Dow is today and the Emini compared to where they were yesterday. Treasuries and gold are higher, but the lid hadn't come off the Treasuries markets because the Fed's raising interest rates. So we're getting muted responses to the upside in Treasuries. Probably have chances for bigger swings and more volatility in gold than we do in Treasuries. We'll start with our disclaimer. Hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain limitations. Unlike an actual performance record, simulated results do not represent actual trading. Also, since the trades have not been executed, results may have under or overcompensated for the impact of any of certain market factors, such as lack of liquidity. Simulated trading programs in general are also subject to the factor design with the benefit of hindsight. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profit or losses similar to those shown. Okay, 121.04, 121.08 is where resistance is. We have a P because the stock market had a big rally yesterday afternoon on an article out of Bloomberg. I'm sure we've caught some people on the wrong side of the market. I think the stock market the first move will be down. We'll have to see if we take out the overnight lows or 25.50. So I want to get long first, see how the stock market goes. So 29 to 01, buy one. 21.25, buy two. Resistance is at 8. So if the Emini is selling, we don't want any part of the short side of the market. Sell one is 7 to 11. I think we can go higher. Go for stops above 8.5, right there. 15 to 19, sell two. Lots of news this morning. ADP, 200K. PMI services 54.1. Factory orders probably discounted, plus 1.7. We get big swings in factory orders, durable goods, etc. And then ISM services 59. Normally the news focus would be those three. Right now I think the focus is the Dow and the E-mini. Then 1, 2, 3. So the market will be subject to news spikes as people in both governments, probably not China, they've probably gone to bed, respond to the tariffs, etc. Explain their positions. Looking at the 30-year, 12 to 16, number 1, 19 to 23. And you look at what happened to the Dow last night, and you look at Treasuries right now, this is a pretty muted response. And we had the same thing the other day. The Dow and the E-mini really start to sell, and Treasuries don't really get up and explode to the upside. And that's because the fundamentals for treasuries are pretty weak. The Fed's raising interest rates. The buck to 04 is number 1, 25.29 by 1, 17.21 by 2. If the Emini is selling, we don't want any part of the short side of the market. We do live in interesting times, don't we? Have our country just being destroyed internally for political gain. Everything is up for or exposed to being attacked, rightly or wrongly. And we deal with news that you have to wait a couple, 3 days to see if it's actually real or not. That makes for a little bit tougher trading. Okay, gold's giving us a much stronger response to the tariff wars than treasuries are, and gold has flight to quality, safe haven. They have that aspect. We also have inflation. Looked at the inflation numbers out of the EU overnight, 1.4% on an annualized basis. They're having really a hard time. There's an article on Zero Hedge about Japan's industrial production hasn't gotten back to where it was in 2008. So again, Japan, the EU, and the Fed, they don't talk about it, but they have been trying to fight deflation day by day ever since 2008, and they're still there. Okay, quite often excess is absorbed in the overnight session. We have stops above 50 that were pulled. Market is headed up. We like the long side first, so 45.47 by 1, 40.42 by 2. Again, if the stock market is selling, we don't want any part of the short side of gold. Sell 1, 50 to 52, sell 2, 54, 56. Sell 2 obviously is leaning against those highs over there. Let them get stops above that. And if we go through it, we go through it. And a lot of it will be dependent upon what goes on in indexes today. I like the long side first. Can't take out 55, 56. Can trade from the short side. Okay, in relationship to both the euro and the yen, the dollar is off as one might expect. Again, kind of a muted response from the euros. Nobody's falling over themselves to get long. And right now you can see that we've got the sellers at 124. We've got a buyer at 23.75. Not quite a point, but if we put all of this together, we're dealing with a pretty pronounced B. So we're at 51 right now. Top of value is 66, so 65, 75, sell 1, 124 even, sell 2. On the buy side, 23.25 buy 1, the buck buy 2. Crude oil, we are going to have an inventory report last night on the APIs. Crude drew 3.3 million barrels. On the EIA report, they're looking for a build of 1.4. So excuse me, that would be minus 3.3. They don't correlate very well right now. They can be the same direction or not. There for a while, they were always in the same direction. They're always showing the same thing. Gasoline drew 1.1. Distillates, I wasn't comfortable with that number. 2.2. I wasn't quite sure it was from last week or not, so I don't know what the distillate number was. So they would be looking for a build of less than 1.4, and they'd like a draw of more than 1.1 in gasoline. Nobody trades distillates anyway. Right here, pretty clean break in the market at 75, so 62.75, 63, sell 1. Looking for maybe a 40 tick range before the EIA number hits the market. Sell 2 at 63.25, 63.50. On the buy side, 62, 62.25, buy 1, 61.50, 75, buy 2. The best thing in the API numbers last night, it showed that OPEC production had dropped just to 32 million barrels per day. That obviously will be offset by increases in U.S. shale oil production.
So I've been reading something too about Russia not playing fair ball with cuts on their end. Have you read anything about that?
Just that article that came up yesterday, which would be expected. I mean, all those people cheat, sell as much oil as they can at the edges. Say one thing and pump as much oil as they need. Russia is desperate for the money, as is Iran, Saudi Arabia, and other places. But Russia on paper will side with Saudi Arabia and OPEC, and they'll try to talk the price up anyway. Okay, the issue was the excess absorbed in the overnight session. Is all the selling over? And we've got that low right down there at what, 20? Basically 25.30. Have this low at 54. Have the overnight low at 60. So we've got 25.30, 25.50, 54, 25.60, and we had a very strong rally late last night off an article in Bloomberg, so I'm guessing there's people that were caught long before this news in the overnight markets, so we'll see if they get dumped on the opening. But this 2500, 2530 is 2500 is a round number, 2530 pretty important numbers. Then it's 50, 54, and then 61. And we have new news, so I'm thinking that we want to sell it first. Let them take it up, take the weak shorts out, let them hit it, and then see if we can crack 25.60 or not. But having said that, quite often in the overnight, the Globex session, all the excess has been absorbed. So then we can go a little higher right here. We'll try for 79.84. May have to adjust that down. Sell 1. 89.94. Sell 2. Best sell is at 2600. See that spill right there in London. And you've got this L period high at 96. And that was that Bloomberg article that took us up yesterday. The low is 61, so 56.61, buy 1. And 46.51, buy 2. And there is a chance that, the low was made in Globex. I don't think anything the government officials can say can change the fact that we have a new round of tariffs And the next step is up to the U.S. What will they do? So it's going to take a while for the market to discount that or see what the impact of that's going to be. So I think even with a relief rally, big money will be looking for a place to sell it. Okay, he's going to take a, just
with that break,
hold it. Let me finish up right here.
yeah,
I'm going to kill the tape right now.